Hello and welcome into another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. Alex Donno and Jerry Mancini, joined by our very special guest, who he's still rubbing it in my face with the I am Scudetto. I love Richard, or at least I used to love Richard, but I swear, I think Jerry, who he usually books the guests on the show, I think Jerry's trying to make me quit the show. He keeps booking Milanisti over and over and over again. Richard Kharman, the great one from the Serie A Sitdown podcast, he and Frank Crivello do an awesome job. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing well. These days I'm doing really well. How are you? How are you guys?
I feel like I'm in second place is about how well I've been doing in recent days. Oh man, and I know Jerry Mancini is usually doing well, but not only is he a Lazio supporter who is wearing Lazio gear today, he is an Edmonton Oilers fan, and they were unceremoniously knocked out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So Jerry, I hope you're all right.
I'm okay. It's better now than the finals. Like 2006 was really bad when we lost 3-1 in the finals against Carolina, and I remember. I know this is a football pod, but I'll just make it short. I remember Pisani with 4 minutes left in the game, and he had a breakaway, and the puck went in his skates, and had it gone on his stick, he would have scored. It would have been 2-2, and I might be looking at a Stanley Cup through my life, but now I think. For me, as an Oilers fan, it's looking good. They're building a team that is going in the right direction, and God is Connor McDavid.
God, he's phenomenal.
He's phenomenal. He's so good. And you know what? I'll give a shout out to Cale Makar. That guy. It's too bad he's a defenseman because I think in some ways he's better than McDavid. But the problem is that he's a defenseman, so we don't look at it like that, right? The speed of that guy is comparable to McDavid. His stick handling is kind of comparable. He went toe to toe and stopped him. Like there's nobody else like him who can do it. But I'm gonna end it there because this is a football pod and people are gonna say, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I brought on Richard to piss you off, Alex. No, I actually didn't think about the Milan segment.
He's one of the few Milanisti that doesn't piss me off. I like Richard. I like Miguel, who we had last week.
Yeah, Miguel's good.
I haven't really decided if I like Jan. He's a good pal of ours. Jan,
I forgot we had Miguel last week. Holy, what's up with these Milan guys I'm bringing on? We're gonna have Milan summer, eh?
You're trying to boost your ratings. I love it.
It's the summer of Milan. Listen, I know that I kind of titled the episode in a way that makes it seem like the off season. I do miss Calcio, no question about it, but summer transfer window, it's always exciting, and like even though my club doesn't really have any money, they're still getting linked to a ton of players, so it's always an interest. Yeah, right, exactly. Although in Inter's case it's mostly like free transfers and loans that they're linked to, but still they get linked to a lot of players. But guys,
fuck the transfer market, it's bullshit.
Because you're a Lazio supporter, you have nothing to look forward to ever.
We actually signed a player before Inter, you fucker. How you that? Marcos Antonio, baby.
He's not bad either.
I'm looking forward. No, what I want to say, I'm sorry to cut you off, is that I'm going to start with, I'll start with this. I'm going to take the reins here for once. This fucking Alessandro Bastoni thing is bullshit. It's all fucking stupid. The fact that Tottenham were going to sign him, he is going to leave. And the fact that his agent had to go on the record and basically say that he's not going, he's happy. Like, how many different stories did we hear about Bastoni before we actually can get the real one today? And his agent had to go on the record. Like, that's why the transfer market is such clickbait bullshit that even like myself, and I try to not dissect too much this summer compared to other summers. And like, even Joe from Forza Napoli podcast, he's like, don't report anything about Dries Mertens with Lazio because the story keeps on changing every 5 minutes with him, that you don't know what it is, what's true. And the other thing is, I know that they have verbal agreements and signatures, but until the market officially opens and you can start signing players, it's so hard to get an idea. Maybe I'm wrong on this one here. I don't know if there's stipulations, but I think that once the market does officially open, when is it? July 1st? Is that yeah.
Doesn't it open earlier this year? I think it,
It
may
might.
open.
COVID rules are
I think it.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm pretty because I'm in way too many Calcio related group chats, and I think I saw something about mid-June, so I think it may actually open earlier this year.
Okay, so I'm just saying.
A lot of players
like,
have moved already right throughout Europe. So
There's a lot of there's a lot of quote unquote tampering because you can come to agreements, you just can't make them official until the transfer window officially opens. But no, Jerry, you're spot on with the Bastoni thing, and it's like on the one hand, with the state of Inter's ownership, like needing to balance the books, I can't just ever automatically dismiss any rumor about a player getting sold. Like I can't dismiss it, right? Like I couldn't dismiss Lukaku or Hakimi last year, and they both ended up getting sold. So I cannot automatically dismiss anything because they do need to raise plusvalenza every year unless they either sell the team, which I hope they do, or their financial situation gets changed. But at the same time, Spurs supporters, they are an incredibly yes, and they're incredibly delusional, right? Bros, I can remember 2 summers ago, I tweeted something that was complete. I didn't even mention Spurs or anything. I tweeted something about like how much I loved Milan Skriniar. And then this was 2 summers ago. So like 4 transfer windows ago, 2 summer transfer windows ago. And then my inbox was getting flooded with Spurs supporters who were like, mate, don't get too attached to that bloke because he's coming over to Tottenham. Like they were convinced. And then I got these guys like DMing me about how, oh no, it's in all of the Spurs blogs. They're making a bid. They're gonna make this secret bid for Skriniar, and he's definitely coming to Spurs. And then like all these like and this one guy who kept DMing me was like quoting this, this Spurs blog on Twitter, and then
his own probably
maybe, and then obviously it didn't happen, and then I started like making fun of this dude who kept tweeting to me. He deleted his account, and the guy who like had the blog that was like convinced, he's like, there is going to be a secret bid, at the last day of the window, and Milan Skriniar is definitely coming to Todd. This dude had to like apologize to all of his followers. It was the whole thing. So it's like, and I don't think it's just Inter players that they talk about.
It's the Premier League,
but Spurs. But the thing is, other Premier League clubs like actually sign a lot of the players that they talk about, but Spurs, Arsenal, it's just miserable. It must be miserable to be a Spurs fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing you hear about Arsenal fans as well, right? At least Chelsea, they buy players, and City as well. But you got these teams in the middle of the place, like Crystal Palace fans chirping, West Ham. You got Newcastle now with the new money, and it's like,
sure, City and Chelsea can buy players, oil money, man.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. To me, I don't believe anything until that team holds up that jersey official from the club saying we signed X, Y, and Z. It's because, like you said, some of it could be true, some of it can't be. But you never know what it is, and so you're going to rack your brain trying to figure out who's getting what. I mean, you're talking about Dries Mertens. I've heard a million things about Renato Sanchez every hour since, we won the Scudetto. So you can't trust anything. You just got to wait till the team makes it official and just, pray you get who you want, I guess.
Yeah, and this has been, and we'll get back to Renato Sanchez in a couple of minutes, but this has been, the big thing that's been reported. This is more than rumors. I mean, you've got it. It hasn't happened yet. So to answer Johnny V's question, is Dybala to Inter confirmed or agreement? They are near agreement with the player, and that he has quote unquote chosen Inter. Like that's the team he wants to sign with, and they're working on it. This is a free transfer, so you don't have to negotiate with the club. He's not under contract with Juventus anymore. So it's not 100%. I think it is going to happen. But I also, guys, I can remember a couple summers ago when people thought, Dybala was good, and this would have to have been a transfer. He wasn't, a free agent then, but when he was seemed to be on his way to Manchester United, and then, he couldn't, like Juventus had agreed to swap him for Lukaku actually back then, but he didn't agree to the terms. So you never know. Like Dybala, he seems a little, a little bit like a diva and his agents. Like they may be making some crazy demands at the last second. So yeah, I'm not going to count
10
my
million a
chickens before they
year
hatch.
for what he's produced is a lot.
No, supposedly they're only offering him like $5.5 million plus bonuses.
I'll believe it when I see it. But it could be. I mean, we all thought last summer Hakan was going to get 10 million from somebody, and he ended up getting what 4.5, 5, and then plus bonuses. So anything's possible, honestly.
I don't like Dybala going to Inter. I don't know, man.
I don't love it. I don't hate it. Like
I don't like it, man.
I don't love it.
I don't think it's the backstabbing that all Juventini are making it out to be. Oh, he's backstabbing up. It's like, isn't Juventus saying we're not going to pay you so you can go if you want? It's very similar to what Milan did with Hakan. We shouldn't be hating him and just like let him go if he wants to go. It's not Luis Figo. Luis Figo in his prime, going from Real Madrid to Barca or whatever, vice versa. That was something. This is Dybala hasn't done it yet.
No, but Hakan left on not the greatest terms with Milan. You know what I mean? I don't think
They're still not good terms.
Yeah, there you go. Like if look at the goal celebration he did when he scored, okay? And I think that there is like that that feeling that the clubs just were already done with him last year. Whereas here's the issue, okay? Dybala, the last game versus Lazio, steals the spotlight from Giorgio Chiellini, okay? That's the first thing. And what does he do? He cries as if he's this god and he's leaving Juventus, and all of a sudden, don't forget about me, because remember when I played here and I'm checking how many seasons he's been with them, actually, because I don't even know, to be honest. Is it 7 seasons since 15-16? So what, 7 seasons? Mm-hmm. And he's got this like sentiment. Guys, don't forget about me. I cared about Juventus. I love this team. And then all of a sudden, you do that whole spiel, and tomorrow morning, hey guys, I signed with Inter. It's like, what the fuck? The fuck out of here! Like, can you imagine if like a Lazio player said, "I love you," blah blah blah, and then next week they go sign with Roma?
Pedro did that to Roma and went to Lazio.
Yeah, but hold on, Pedro was only there for a year, and he got shit on by Jose Mourinho. He never built any credibility with Roma. It's only one season. One season's one thing. 7 seasons with Juventus, winning several trophies, winning an MVP trophy. There's that continuity you built, and it's not just you don't just wake up and leave to go join Inter. I don't agree with it, man. Like, yeah, you got Cliff here. Oh yeah, go join Inter. Don't worry, our rivals. Go join them because it's fine.
I just feel bad for Dybala.
No, man. I don't agree with it. I just don't think you don't go and sign against a team that you hate so much. Like, no.
The thing is, here's the reality. Here is the reality, Jerry, and I want everybody watching this and everybody who's on the show with me right now to remember this.
And I get I get that everyone's gonna say about Juventus entourage and they screwed up and all that fucking shit. Sorry,
that's not even what I'm getting at. No. Here's something people need to remember, especially in 2022, because we're not talking about players 30, 40, 50 years ago. The fans care more about the rivalries than the players do. The fans care more about that shit.
Look at Fever Pitch.
Yes, and also fans care more about, when your team comes up short or loses. That bothers the fans more than it bothers the players. Like I can guarantee you, maybe there are a couple of exceptions here. I was more bummed out about Inter coming in second place, or at least I was bummed out about it for longer than the Inter players were, because probably 24 hours after the Serie A season was over.
Ibiza.
Yeah, exactly. They're partying. They're drinking on a beach somewhere.
Grilling, huh, Jerry?
Right. So like fans care, and also Jerry. And Jerry, I think I also think, and Richard, I'm curious as to how you feel about this. I think that the rivalry between the Roman clubs, I think it's a little bit different than the northern clubs where I think the play and a lot of it just comes from the spirit of the Roma Lazio, where I think that's more personal, where I think a lot of the players who play for Milan, Inter, and Juve, and like, okay, Richard Kharman is wearing a Baggio jersey right now. I know people can't see the back of it. He's wearing a Baggio Milan shirt. Baggio played for Milan. He played most notably for Juventus, and he played for Inter. And that was in the freaking 90s, okay? So even then.
And
so
Fiorentina, who hates Juve.
And Fiorentina. So I think with the northern clubs, it's not as personal. It's more about business for the players up there, where the guys in the Roman clubs, I think, take that more personal.
But Baggio never made a fucking stink and cry that he was leaving Inter to go, and then he was leaving Milan and he cried. And like the only time I remember he cried was when he had to hang up his boots, man. Like,
well, I think he cried when he missed that penalty against Brazil.
Yeah,
I think he cried.
But like, but if you're gonna hold on, my argument is if he never did the crying, never made a big oopola, never made a big stink, that's fine. Go sign with Juventus. I mean, Inter. Go do what you want to do. But when you're on the center stage, taking Chiellini's time, who is not going to play another game in Juventus, is supposed to have the prime time to say goodbye to my fans. This is for you. They didn't plan that for Dybala. Nothing was supposed to be planned for Dybala. Chiellini, because he's retiring. Dybala made his bed. He left. That's it. You made your bed. If you don't want, if you know that the club is giving you, if you want 10 million and the club is saying this is what we're going to give you, and they don't give it to you, I see it both sides, but you cannot cry in front of everybody and act like you're, oh, it's okay, Dybala, you did nothing wrong. It's okay, we're going to miss you too. And then tomorrow morning you go to your rival. Come on, Alex. I get what you're saying about the 90s and teams not caring. I agree with that. But like Baggio never made his bed to make other teams hate him. You know what I mean? Like he picked up and he left and went to another club. He picked up, he left and went to another club and continued his legacy in the right way, playing the game that he's supposed to. And Dybala, you know what? $10 million, buddy. You can't stay healthy. You have if you can't understand why a team's offering you $7 million or less because you can't play more than 10 games in a season, your Champions League pedigree is shit. You can't stay healthy for Champions League, and you've offered very little. Like, if you can't put those together, the facts are there. The evidence is there. Why is someone going to pay you more if you haven't done it enough in recent seasons? Like, other than the season he had with Sarri that was so good, I can't remember the last time he was that consistent and that healthy to produce for Juventus. I'll leave it there, man. I like I said, I agree with you. Your point, I'm not going to debate your point because back in the 90s, yeah, players did go to rival teams, but they didn't make a freaking scene and look like a chooch. That
Zlatan, he played for all the teams, right? All the big
chooch of the week
in the world. He's played for every team.
I'm just saying, like, you got to think of perspective. If you're gonna cry and you're gonna act different then and do the opposite, it's like, why are you crying in the first place?
Yeah, but can it be okay?
Why?
He was crying because he knew he was about to close the door on a huge chapter of his career. Like he was crying because he knew, like, I've been 7 years at Juventus and he knew he was leaving. So that he was soaking in it. I've been with this club for 7 years, and I think he did and probably still does love Juventus. I can remember like a few years ago when, he was turning like 26 years old, and he basically had a child's birthday party at a Juventus cake and like all of his day. It's like, that's a weird grown man birthday, but okay, you do you, Dybala. You do you. So I think he was crying because he knew he was turning the page on a 7-year chapter of his career. I think that's why he was crying. But to Jerry's point,
he's thinking into in the back of his head, 7 million, cha-ching. That's all I can go to because no other team wants to take me. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
No, I don't think
more
that's
emotional
true.
than others.
No, other teams would have taken him. He shut it down. Like there were lots of clubs in England.
You want an emotional guy in your team who's going to break down at any time, not physically, but even emotionally.
We had Hakan.
Are you saying he wasn't wanted? He was wanted, but they weren't. He was only taking meetings with Inter. He wasn't taking meetings with other clubs. But okay, to Jerry's point, I see what you're saying, because if the shoe were on the other foot, right? If I were a Juve supporter, I don't like that hypothetical. Let's say I am an Inter supporter, and let's say like Marcelo Brozovic or okay, we'll use Ivan Perisic because his contract just did expire and he went to Tottenham. If Ivan Perisic was like, you know what, Inter made me an offer, Juventus made me basically the same, I'm just going to go to Juventus. Yeah, I'd be upset. So I take your point, Jerry. Like I don't blame some. I don't know if every UA fan is upset about the Dybala thing, but to the ones who are, I totally get it. If Ivan Perisic had just decided to sign with Juve after being with Inter for, I think it's about the same amount of time, 6 or 7 years, yeah.
And now
I
you
would be
get why
upset.
why Milanisti hate Hakan so much is because Milan offered him 5.5 million euros. He says, no, I want 10 million. He goes to Inter, signs for the same damn thing. And we're like, what the fuck is that? You know, and well, you know, forget him.
Jerry, how come you didn't invite Frank?
He always gives me an excuse that he has his kids' soccer. He's got a coach.
So you
He
just
took
stopped
time
asking?
off. Every time I asked, he always had a reason he couldn't come on. So I was just like, okay.
I always just say yes. So there you go.
Okay. How about this? Because
I'm sorry, Frank.
I don't want to bring in Frank right now because I'm on a bit of a timetable and like to bring him on for like 12 minutes.
Frank used to call me all the time for one thing. Frank used to call me, hey, who do you like tonight in the hockey game? I gotta make my roster for DraftKings.
So Frank,
I actually liked it because I like someone who likes to talk about hockey. So I'm all for it, man.
I want to get Frank. I want you in next week, Mr. Crivello. I know you're watching. Mark it in your calendar, and we're gonna kick. We don't need Richard even next week. Well, Richard's invited as well if he wants to. We can do a full crossover. But
he's my replacement.
What? Can you not come on next week?
No, future.
What, me?
Are you leaving the pod? What the hell? That's a weird way to make an announcement.
My kids have soccer.
I told you.
Can't say you weren't invited next week.
I don't know if he's joking or not, though, just because I said that.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, let's talk a little transfer. This Dybala. I'm tired of talking about Dybala. It took a lot out of me.
Well, you better wait because I think it's going to be announced within the next 7 days. So we're going to have to talk about it again next week.
No, it's fine. At the end of the day, I'll say this: as much as I got really heated and animated about Dybala, I don't give a fuck what he does. To be honest, he can go to Inter, it doesn't bother me. He can go fuck off, that won't bother me. At the end of the day, he made his bed. I'm not a Juventus fan, so I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to hate the guy. And have a nice day, Dybala. That's it. Nice.
So, Richard, you mentioned every hour or so there's Renato Sanchez rumors. What's the latest?
There's rumors that he's in talk with negotiations with Renato Sanchez. It's the same bullshit rumor we've been hearing since the beginning. The latest rumor is that they've agreed personal terms. Now they've got to agree on a money from Lille. Same thing with Sven Botman. We'll see. I mean, I don't believe any of this until, again, the jersey's being held. Renato Sanchez is at Milanello or Casa Milan, and they're holding it up. So, I mean, I don't know. Only thing I know for sure is we got Redbird, and that's all I know.
Well, and what's going on with that? Because from what I read, it sounds like Redbird had to take out a very large loan from Elliott just to make the deal. Like you in a couple of weeks, you guys went from Bahraini oil money to buying it with a mortgage. Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, but it works out for Elliott because he took the loan from Elliott.
Right, exactly.
So Elliott's got a stake in the club anyway, and I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't care. Long as they give us money to spend a little bit more than Elliott had, then I'm happy with that. So I know they got a lot of plans. I trust Redbird from everything I've read. Obviously, they got to prove it, but what they did with Toulouse and all their other adventures that they have, I'm fairly confident what they're going to bring to the table. And we'll see what first sign Maldini, Masada, and then after that, start bringing in some players, which I have confidence they will, and I would not be surprised. Maldini is a very underrated sporting director. I think.
He's
very.
And the more time goes by, the more he's proven, because a lot of the deals he didn't cut that he got questioned for, everything's worked out.
Yeah.
How much do they want for Sanchez? What's the terms?
I feel like it was 25 to 35 million for him. Same thing for Botman.
Right.
Catelier guy, the guy from
Club Brugge.
Yeah, they said I think he's going to be around the same price. I don't know. We're hearing all these different numbers. Nothing's in stone yet. Just all these little rumors here and there from different people, no credible sources. So it's hard to say right now, honestly. I know both Milan and Juventus are trying to go after Zaniolo for 50 million, which I think is a little steep. With his injuries, he's fantastic talent, but I don't know, 50 million. We'll see. I mean,
Serie A tax. I mean, he's a young Italian. That's why.
Yeah.
Think about this: Zaniolo for 50 million. Okay, right. Zaccagni arrived to Lazio on 7 million.
Yeah, that's unreal.
And Zaccagni has already shown that he's a much better player than Zaniolo for many reasons. One, hold on, I think this past season he's already shown that he can be a much better player. He's healthy. No disrespect to this is not a cheap shot to Zaniolo. I'm telling you the truth. He's had 2 significant injuries.
Yes.
To knock on wood, Zaccagni hasn't gone that road yet, and so he's much more durable, he's more reliable, and he can stay fit. I think that Zaccagni finally has a chance to play for a bigger club compared to Verona. I think that it's going to excel his game, and he's going to take him to another level. I think he's going to grow, and he's going to be a very sleeper pick.
I will say this, though, to counter you. I would say I agree with everything you just said there, but I think what Zaniolo brings is that X-factor ability that Federico Chiesa brings people out of their seats. Granted, he's not healthy like Chiesa, but when he's healthy, that potential is there. If he can find a way to stay healthy wherever he goes, he could be that next very good player, possibly great player with what the capabilities he has. Now, will his legs give out on him ultimately? I don't know. And that's why they rated it so high. And I agree, Cliff or someone said, if it's going to England, it'd be rumors for 800 million, right?
Sure.
So, I mean,
well, let me ask you, if you guys are, if you guys,
how many goals did he score this year?
Less than Salamakers.
If you guys sign Zaniolo, will you be able to have wheelchair ramps in the Milan practice facilities, like in time to start the season? Like, will it be handicap accessible? Because you got to have wheelchair ramps everywhere.
Have you not watched Milan for the last 20 years? We've injury prone all the way around. Everything's ADA accessible. Elevators now at San Siro. I mean, come on.
Do you remember, like at Tony Soprano's mom's house, where they had the little chair you sit in and it lifts you to the top of the staircase?
I want one of those. I want one of those.
You gotta have one of those for Zaniolo. He just sits in the chair and it lifts him to the top of the stairs.
I also want to talk about, and I said this to Miguel last week. Frank might go against me. I'm not sold on Sanchez. He has
I'm not either.
I'm sorry. I watch a lot of League On, and not as much this.
You're the one.
What?
He's the in League On.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
This is what I just want to look at. Yeah, I want to just bring up something. I'm looking at it right now. His injury history is a very concern for me.
Sure, I agree.
So prior to his injury, I think it was last season, not this past season, the season before he got injured against Milan. The guy was on a tear, okay? And he had good pace. He's very good offensively. He has the ability to move the ball forward. His defensive game is very poor. And I think a lot of the time I watch him play, he loses sight of where he has to be. He loses position, gets caught out of position, and his tracking back is very poor. Like I was saying, he doesn't seem like the same player that he was before. And look at these injuries. This season, he missed 12 games due to muscle injuries. Was out almost to 80 days. He had thigh problem, meniscal injury, muscle injury. Last season, he had muscle problems and muscle injury, hamstring injury. The year before, hamstring contusion, hamstring injury. The year before that, ankle problems, and then he had a hamstring. Yeah, every year he's in his first season, and that was with, I'm not sure who that was with.
Injury aside, I'm not even convinced about his play. Even his play, I'm not convinced with.
I agree with that.
He's
decent. Kind of concerns. He's a decent player, but for 25, I think it's overpriced, and I think that Maldini is really hesitant on why and why this deal hasn't been done yet. I think he's trying to lower that price down because I think he knows it's too much for him. I personally think that that's a possibility, but again, I haven't been following it.
I
But
fear also with Botman, who's also at Lille, that Maldini has a set price in his mind, and now they're going to use Botman, dangling over England and say, "Hey, how much money can you give me?" Maldini's not going to budge. If he is not going to budge, giving guys a couple $1 million extra a year, he's not going to give you $20 million more or 20 million euros more. So I don't know.
It's like Morty Seinfeld with the tip calculator.
Yeah, exactly. I love Seinfeld references.
Oh man, no. Okay, the last thing I want to get into in this episode, this is being shared and talked about a lot on Serie A Twitter. The proposal, and I like this. It's not what some people think, because some of you are too lazy to actually read the articles. You just read the headlines. But talking about a a future implementing a playoff to decide Scudetto and to decide relegation, but it's not like they're not doing an MLS style playoff or anything like that. The way that this would work is if you've got a tie at the top, even in points, you settle it with a playoff. I think it'd be a one game. Same thing with relegation. If there's a tie, you settle it with a playoff. And I like it. Like, instead of going with a formula of tiebreakers, and even though like the first tiebreaker is head-to-head record, but even so, if there is a tie, I think settling it actually on the pitch where both teams know the stakes, right? Because when you're talking about head-to-head record for the two regular matchups in the season, like, they didn't know at that point when they faced each other what they were playing for, especially not in the first leg. So have a one-game playoff where both teams know the stakes for Scudetto and relegation. So again, this isn't like every year they're going to have, a 8-team playoffs or something. No, if it's tied in points, you settle it with a playoff instead of settling it with tiebreakers. I'll start with you, Richard. I love this idea.
It's interesting. Well, you talk about people not reading, right? I know some of the first reactions that I saw is like, why is there going to be why are they looking into this? Milan won the Scudetto. It's like, no, that's not what they're saying. Like,
right.
They're talking about if there was a tie. I'm on the fence on this because, one, I do like what you're saying. One game, winner take all. People would love to see, Liverpool and Man City have a one game playoff, this year, right? Or even Milan Inter. But in the same respect, like, we have these tiebreakers in place. So like head to head, goal differential. I think that's important to me. If you're scraping away, like if you're Allegri ball, sorry to pick on Allegri, but you're winning these games 1-0, but then you got someone like Inter or someone winning 4 or 5-0, and the goal differential is like 20 goals. I don't think they're on the same level. Yes, to get the same results. So I would rather see at least 1 or 2 tiebreakers first, but I don't mind this actually at all, as long as they don't bring that stupid MLS breakaway penalty shootout.
Oh my God!
But the question is, then look, if we did adopt this, watch late 90s. 90s, the penalty shootout was a breakaway. You would run at the goalkeeper with the ball from midfield, and the goalie can come out, and you can go around him if you want. It's really silly. Plus all the big jerseys. But here's the other thing, right? If we do have a one-game playoff, it's going to go to overtime. You got to have some different rules, like a golden goal or something. I don't want to see a penalty kicks on the last game of the season because if someone team is far superior defensively, they're going to try to aim for that.
But if that's good enough for a World Cup final, it's not good enough to decide a Scudetto, a penalty kick shootout?
Scudetto World Cup. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want to see it.
I never want to see a league decided on penalty kicks. That's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
That's so stupid, man. That is like
Champions League. Okay.
It's weak for me, man. Oh.
Yeah. See,
you don't play.
That's a good point by Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I you know what? I like the one game because as a neutral, if it's not my team, I'm looking on the outside. It's good. You know what? As an owner, you're looking at money, you're looking at ratings, you're looking at whatever draws you extra X amount for a day. You think about it and you're like, ooh, I'm the second place team. I got a chance to win this. And you're the first place team and you're thinking vice versa. I just got effed in the ass and now I got to play for this when I should have won due to tiebreaker. So it's going to be all a controversy. Hearsay, she say, you got fan bases on Twitter saying you guys cheated.
They say that anyway.
You guys cheated because you had the extra game to help you, or else if you never had it, you would never win that Scudetto because you lost to us head to head, blah blah blah, and all fucking garbage.
By the way,
But-
this is a great question, and
Yeah.
I did read about this today. Ollie Oxenfree asked, but what happens to all the teams who end up on the same points for Europa League spots, Conference League spots, and for relegation? They're not going to do games for that. It would only like if you're tied, if two teams are tied for the last Champions League spot, all the regular tiebreakers apply. Europa League, same thing. They would only
That's
use
so stupid.
They would only use the playoff to decide Scudetto or relegation, not for European spots. I specifically read that today.
Oh, and relegation?
And relegation.
I like relegation because in Germany they take the third worst team in the Bundesliga against the third best team in the Zweite Liga, and they play 2 games. I like that.
They should do that for Serie A.
Imagine
that's a good idea.
Imagine Salernitana against I don't know, Monza or something like that.
Yeah.
How interesting would that be, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It should be like that. Actually, it's actually smart.
Yeah, it is smart.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
England does it too, I think, right? Or somebody else does. I forget who.
I'm not sure.
Ligue 1.
That's right.
Ligue 1,
the Uber Eats League does it. Yeah.
It's the right way, actually. The 2 go down, and the third has to fight to stay up, and it gives the bottom team a chance to go up.
Yeah.
But I you know what? Richard says good points, and even Oli says good points. I don't like that if you're gonna favor a Scudetto winner or relegation, but you don't kind of look at Europa League spots and Conference League spots. That's very important because
I don't know if Conference League spot is that important. If we're being real here.
Absolutely, it actually is real because if you're Fiorentina, who has struggled for so many years, and you're tied with Sassuolo, who is looking to start to build somewhere, and you tie and you get lucked out, but you really, let's just say Fiorentina got shit out of luck versus Sassuolo. I don't know.
That's true.
Like, I'm telling you, Conference League may be a joke for you as Inter. But you're looking at a team. The whole purpose of Conference League is not to benefit guys like Roma. Even Roma, like, I get it, they want it, but it's not that. It's to benefit the non-top 6-7 teams who have always been accustomed to like winning. It's supposed to help others, and I agree with Oli. It would screw a team out who properly qualify for Conference League, and all of a sudden it has to play head-to-head. Like it should go both ways. I don't know. I don't like that one gets favored, the other one doesn't. It's if it's not broken, don't touch it.
There's a lot of things broken in Serie A. I don't know if the Scudetto race is.
Yeah, well, why don't we fix the refereeing and the racism before we fix the the Scudetto
stadiums falling apart?
Yeah, that's a good one.
No TV funding.
Let's fix the stadiums, the revenue, the racism, and the refereeing. All the R's. Fix all those other problems first.
I like the idea, but what's the point of putting it in when you have rules in place that has
extra games, extra money?
I don't know. No, I said that before. Other than making money an extra game, what's the point of having rules in the first place? Like, I'm with Richard. You play 2 heads to head. You play a team twice to determine this. You know what I mean?
I just think like you don't necessarily like to have that game where both teams know the stakes, because like when you face a team first meeting in September, you may have no idea that we're going to be, 7 months from now, we're going to be tied for a relegation battle.
You're not thinking like that. You're not thinking like that. That's why I appreciate football compared to North American sports, because you should be thinking like that for every game in Serie A or any European league, because every game that you lose should be like a final, because it's so important, because you're not playing 82 games in the NHL. And I said this in the pod before, I'll say it again. The Oilers, my Oilers that I cheer for, started off the season, were in first. They went on a 14-game gap where they lost, and they were out of the playoffs. Now you still got 40, 50 games still to go, and you're out of the playoffs. What do? They bring a new coach in. All of a sudden, they go on a tear. They finish second in their division. They get into the playoffs. They get a chance to go. And football, it's not like that, man. You don't get those many. You don't get chances like that where you can like redeem and play so many games that it actually matters in March, and then people really start caring about, are you making the playoffs? You're not. With football, that final is already there in football. The first game you play of the season, it's already game on. You lose those 3 points, you're already back. You lose the second game, you're already back. And that's what makes the Scudetto and every other championship too in European football really hard to win, because like there's no need for a final because you got that every week.
Right.
Look at Napoli. No shot to Napoli. They were in control of their destiny for a while.
Yeah, they were.
They were doing well. And
they did what Napoli do.
I'm not gonna say I'm not here to cheap shot today, but I did on Dybala already. But
you cheap shot my new number. Yeah. I don't know what number he's gonna wear.
Allegedly.
Yeah, you're cheap shotting my
potential look at Napoli. Edition. Napoli dropped 3 games, and what happened? They finished 3rd, right? So those are finals. Those are 3. Think about it. Fuck off, you fucking asshole. Fuck sakes. You can consider those as 3 final games that they had to win the Scudetto when you really think about it, because look how important those games are. You drop a few points, you as soon as you know it, you're right behind. There's not a lot of games to like that you can like cost points and still be in the Scudetto race. You really got to stay consistent, and that's what makes it hard. Like you can't be dropping 10 losses and think that you're going to win a Scudetto. It's very rare you see. This season was a one-off. You know, that's no disrespect to Milan. I like the way the competition was weaker at its lowest in a while. I think the competition was balanced, but I'm saying
it was balanced, but it was
balanced. Lower. Yeah, it was lower. Like it wasn't to the top, wasn't to the bottom, but like I think next year will be much harder at the stakes. And I don't want to take anything away from Milan, because I think that at the end of the day, it's not like, oh, Milan got lucky this year. And I see fans on Twitter saying, oh, they got lucky. If this was last year, Milan would have. But no one's looking at last year.
Last year they finished second.
They did what they had to, and they took advantage.
Yeah, they came in second.
Shut up.
No, but hold on. Seriously.
I was talking to Alex.
But like, think about it. They did what they had to. They beat the teams they had to. Like, imagine if Milan was tied this season, and they had the head-to-head, and they had to go play a sudden death game after overcoming injuries, after getting over humps and hills. You know what I mean? It'd be an advantage Inter. That's bullshit, because they did what they had to win first. So I don't know, man. I'm afraid I can't endorse a playoff game. I'm sorry.
You know, you guys actually made so many good points that I think I came into it very open-minded. I'm now closed-minded on your side. I think I'm with you guys on this.
I'm not against it. They have so many other issues to fix in the league. Worry about that first, and then tweak the game, because the game is pretty good. But it's the other bullshit you need to get rid of.
I don't know. Tonight I've been cutting you guys off. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. I want to go to bed, because if I don't get my 9 hours. If I don't get my 9 hours, I'm very cranky in the morning.
My internet cutting out again.
Fuck. Alex, something.
Oh, is it my internet that's cutting out?
No.
Hello? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, hold on. While Jerry tries to get his internet going again, I can't tell if he's frozen or if he's deep in thought. I think he's frozen.
He's deep in thought.
Okay, there he is. He's back. But Richard.
No, my internet's fucking shit, man. Fuck.
It's that socialist Canadian internet. It's not having a good night. Richard Kharman, let people know where they could find you, and of course where they can find your awesome pod with Frank Crivello, who we did not invite.
You mentioned Frank. You can follow him at FTC_21. You can follow me at R_KHARMAN. But you can see the handle right there at Serie A Sitdown. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We actually have a new highlights video from this past season. Go check it out and subscribe. But follow us there. And we like you, try to keep everyone abreast of all that's going on in Calcio. And thank you for having me on. Big fans of you, of course, as we always coming on. At least I am. I don't know about Frank, but
Frank hates us now.
But thank you guys for having me on. Love being on here.
And your capitalist internet is working great, as is mine. Communist Jerry Mancini, where can people find you? And is there anything you are working on, sir?
J Mancini 8, and I wrote a piece on why Lazio should sell Luis Alberto. Hasn't come out yet, but that's all I've written in the last month or two, and that's about it. I've been keeping it low. I went for a nice 2-hour walk today. That's what I've been doing.
I haven't written anything longer than a tweet in 2 years, so don't feel bad.
I don't know. I actually want to take a summer not to write all summer and rather just read and walk and enjoy myself more and not be so sucked into the transfer market because I hate it so much because it's I never expected Lazio to sign Marcos Antonio, and then today it was finally official. It's the things that you don't expect that actually happen compared to the things that you hear consistently and don't happen. Yeah, I'm working on a 5th place story of Lazio.
You could write that now and just set it to release in 11 months when the next season is over. He can write his story about Lazio fighting for 5th place and then schedule it to come out next May.
Milan, don't worry. Lukaku is near. Lukaku's a bum. He's a bum.
He wasn't a bum for 2 years wearing black and blue. He wasn't a bum.
Most people, when they come back to their teams, they're never as good. I know
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Although Zlatan was all right, except he's injured all the time. But
true, he's
pretty good run regardless.
Lukaku was a 1-season wonder.
2 seasons, motherfucker. He had 2 great seasons.
Shit, I forgot about the first.
He was pretty good in the Premier League before.
He was just not so much at he some good and some bad at Manchester. All right. Well, I want a huge shout out to everybody who tuned in. Our guy Frank, our guy Lord Figo, who I love, even though he gets under Jerry's skin. Ollie Oxenfree, thank you so much. I know we had a few more who were in the live chat. Hold on. Cliff, our guy Cliff Esmiol. I didn't stand him up, but I had to turn down a request from Cliff the other day to join his pod. I don't know, man. I pretend to be a busy guy. I hope to join Cliff again soon, and I hope Cliff.
Did you use Frank's excuse?
No, I had to record something for one of my 7 other jobs. I do so many other jobs that sometimes I forget that I work for somebody. It's crazy. I need to start writing some stuff down, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully another time soon. Johnny V, thank you as well for hopping in. Huge shout out to Richard Kharman, Jerry Mancini. I'm Alex Donno. You see where to follow me on Twitter, and make sure you follow our show at Calcio Con Pod. We'll talk to you again next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Lord Figo, don't forget,